Okay, so one thing that I forgot to talk about was in part two was how the North Node energy connects to the opposing energy of your Pluto. So it's kind of like I like to think of the whole process as an onion, and it can be kind of confusing. Like I think you've been studying evolutionary astrology from what I remember you saying, but so maybe you already like have a grasp on this or like an understanding of it, but we have Pluto, which is the subconscious, and we have that subconscious desire. And then on the opposing side, we have the opposing energy, which we're asked to integrate over multiple lifetimes. And Jeffrey Wolf Green taught that there are 8 primary lives with however many subsidiary lives in between where we work through this energy that constitutes our subconscious desire to separate from source. So the 8 primary lifetimes, we can see what those are by looking at certain aspects in the chart, but they're basically the lives in which we put our nose to the grindstone and we work more directly on our personal growth and evolution. Now, I'm kind of getting off track here. There's a lot to talk about, but I wanted to mention this real quick before I forget. So we can tell how many primary lifetimes we've been working with this subconscious desire, which in your case is Leo. And we look at that by seeing the phase or the degrees of separation between Pluto and Mars. And yours is, I think it's 335 degrees of separation. So this means that you've been working with this desire to be seen and recognized for some creative ability for pretty much all of the lifetimes, primary lifetimes that you're going to be working with it. So not too far in the distant future of your soul, you're going to have a completely different desire because you're almost done with this Leo desire. You know, you're like on your 8th lifetime of the primary lifetime, the 7th or 8th. So you have a lot of experience with this. So I wanted to mention that, and then I also wanted to mention how to go back to the process, you know, that we're always growing through the opposing energy, and it doesn't matter what planet we're talking about. So Pluto has an opposing energy. The subconscious desire that causes us to separate from source has an opposing energy that we're asked to integrate over the course of these 8 primary lifetimes that we're working with this energy. And I call that the long-term growth strategy of your soul. And then the next layer on top of that is the short-term growth strategy of your soul, which is represented by the nodes, which change, you know, every lifetime or two, or it could be more if you have a skip step that you've not resolved, because you have to keep coming back to that over the multiple lifetimes until it's resolved. So with that, you have the South Node energies, and then you're asked to grow and evolve short term through the North Node energies. And this short term is because it's the ego. And we create different egos in each lifetime to fulfill and to work out the subconscious desire, which is represented by Pluto. So it's kind of like, you know, we have this underlying desire, and then in each life we get to create this Maya, you know, this fictional reality, this play, this drama that is signified by the personal, you know, the emotional body, the ego. And then we get to work that out in all these different ways. So I just want to mention that. And then, so I didn't talk about how your North Node energies tie into fulfilling the integration. Mommy. Yes. What is it? I wish there was a pause on this. Okay, I'm gonna have to go handle them. I'll be right back. Sorry about the delay. Turn that computer on, baby. Okay. So we go back to the foundation, Pluto, Leo. This need to feel special, to be recognized. And then you look at the Capricorn, Libra. It's the Capricorn part is, being present in the world. I'm relating mainly to who I am externally, how others see me. Others, Libra, Capricorn, 7th house. And then growing from that to the North Node, Cancer. Okay, I used to relate to myself based on, what my job title was, how much money I made, to my status in society. And then going from that and having to learn how, I know who I am in that regard, but who am I internally? And learning to go from somebody who related to themselves mainly from that space, and in doing so, having to squash or suppress the emotions, the emotional body, because when we're living primarily through the eyes of others, we can't let the emotional body surface, or we can't be too invested there, because it can be really painful when other people control our sense of who we are. So going from that to relating then mainly to, okay, I'm relating to who I am internally, and something happened with that skip step, where that whole integration of learning how to relate to who you are internally was blocked. There was something that happened there. And then how that, and then you go to the first house, how now that I'm relating to myself on a more internal basis, I can shut out all the noise and the opinions of everybody else. 7th house, past life, 7th house. And I can live in a way that's more about me, the true me, the internal me, not the me that I need other people to believe in, but the true me. So again, something happened with that whole process. And then we look at, okay, well, if this is how the soul was being asked to integrate and to grow and evolve, these energies of Cancer and Aries, how does that tie into the unconscious energy that you're asked to integrate with Aquarius? That's opposing that Leo soul desire. So again, I think it's about, there's a theme here and there's a thread. When you can learn to relate to yourself on a more internal basis, and to shut out all the noise and to do things for you, then that would create somebody who is more Aquarian in nature, whose ego isn't so fragile, who's, hearing or seeing the snarky comments, the judgments of other people, and that just crushing you and it destroying you, because you're inside yourself. When we live from a place that is not internal, we're really vulnerable. But when we're living primarily from a place that's about, it's about me, it's about my wants and needs and how I relate to myself internally, there's this strength that is, that's grown inside of you. And then that can help you to one, learn the lessons of subjectivity that Aquarius can teach. Okay, I know who I am, and I'm not going to let anybody else's opinions or judgments of me stop me. And then also, that's going to give you the strength to be able to take your gifts and talents and show them to others and not care about, what other people think, and to know that your gifts and talents are specific to people who need them. Not everybody is going to love what you do and who you are, but the people who do, that's who your gifts and talents are meant for. And that's learning how to integrate those in that, socially useful way. And this is what is or what was being blocked, this type of growth. And because you're getting towards the very end of your primary lives with this, it's really important that that you do have access to this Aquarian energy, because with a skip step, this is what's being blocked. The feeling of having the strength to show who you are to the world through your gifts and talents and not care what they say, and to be able to find a way to integrate those into society that will benefit other people. And it's not going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit, the select few who are on the same wavelength as you and who need your gifts and talents. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the skip step has already been resolved because of the work that you've had, done with the gene keys and human design. So I wanted to clarify how all that works. Hopefully it's clear. I know it can be a little bit confusing. I wanted to get into your trauma. So anytime we see planets in the 11th house or Aquarius, or wherever Uranus is placed, these are the trauma placements in your chart. So you have Sun in Aquarius, or is it Sun in the 11th? What is it? It's Sun in the 11th, which is Aquarius. So any bad aspects to your Sun, that's going to be trauma. And you have four bad aspects to your Sun. You have Sun opposite Moon, Sun semi-square Venus, Sun sesquiquadrate Mars, Sun quincunx Saturn. And I'm not surprised at all, because when I look at charts, I usually see trauma related to, whatever energies the person is carrying in their evolutionary axis. And for you, Pluto, 5th house, Sun, that's, the creative self-expression. So there's trauma there. And this could be from past lives and or present life. And then the other trauma is Uranus. You have Uranus in Sagittarius. So this is trauma related to your spiritual beliefs and how other people might have, not been on the same page. Maybe you were born into cultures where your beliefs, your personal beliefs, were at odds with what was, socially acceptable. And then that's Uranus in Sagittarius in the 6th house. So this is about criticism. Criticism coming from those other people. And this can be external criticism, and it can also be internal criticism, because the 6th house is Virgo, and Virgo is always very critical of self, and therefore it's very critical of others. And so this could be both of those, self-criticism and or criticism and judgments coming from other people. And Uranus semi-square Saturn Uranus is mental trauma, and it's in bad aspect to the planet that caused the skip step, Saturn. Let's see, what else did I... Okay, so when we have Saturn causing a skip step, it's unresolved material relating to conditioning. And then how that conditioning results in guilt. So this can be, it can be authentic guilt or, guilt that's inauthentic. So it can be something that you truly feel sorry about doing from a past life that was truly your fault. Or it can be guilt that is caused by the conditioning that you received that you really don't need to carry around, like, just for example, if you were raised Catholic, you might have a lot of guilt around your sexuality, which is not authentic guilt. That's man-made guilt based off of a man-made religion. And then so when the planet that is causing a skip step is also the planet that we need to look to resolve. So it's like the planet that causes a skip step is the planet that messes you up, but it's also the planet that is needed to, it's like the key to undoing the unresolved material. So your Saturn is Libra in the 5th, which we've already talked about. So it's, how other people impacted your creativity or the pursuits of your gifts and talents, and then how that prevented you from integrating the North Node energies of Cancer and Aries. It prevented you from being able to fully embrace living from the experience of relating primarily with who you are on the inside and being able to put your needs and wants and desires first. So because it prevented that successful integration, you maybe, like I said, I don't know if this has been resolved yet or not, but at some point in your life, maybe even now if it hasn't, there's this going back and forth between, okay, I want to maintain the energies that I've known and that I'm holding on to, that Capricorn, social status, and then how that relates to other people, 7th house, and then the Cancer 1st house North Node energies. So there's something there. It's like you're being pulled, or you were being pulled back and forth between these two, and you can't find the proper balance, or couldn't find the proper balance between them. So if you feel like that's been resolved and you feel like you're being able to not let people's opinions and judgments of you impact your ability to share your gifts and talents, and that you're able to do that in a way that's being useful to other people, then I would say that your skip step has already been resolved. And for you, the resolution node, or the way to resolve the skip step, is through the North Node, which is that Scorpio 5th house way of getting about accessing the Cancer 1st house North Node energies. Let's see here. I think that was all. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, or you would like to maybe share some things about your life, or maybe some feedback, about this reading. I'd really appreciate that because a lot of times I sit with the energies and I look at the patterns and I try to um, see what the most obvious meaning of them is. But a lot of times, maybe that's not what the meaning is. Maybe I'm misreading it. So if you feel like there's anything that you didn't resonate with, I would like to know what that is so that, that's going to help me to be able to become a better chart reader and astrologer. So I'd really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do my Gene Keys reading. I'm really excited to see what you have to say about that. Okay, take care. Bye.